One of the journalists who covered the protests in Marikana in 2012 says it's good that the tragedy has been widely documented. Lucas Ledwaba says this is important to ensure the massacre is not forgotten. Newzroom Afrika's Zikhona Tshona met with Ledwaba at the State Theatre and filed this report.
I can guarantee you 99.9% of the workers, they had never met a journalist before the strike. Now when I realized the people are dead, I really had a go at this one policeman. I asked him, man, was this necessary? You know, I don't know. I wanted to beat him up. Marikana was really bad, and I think if you speak to most of our colleagues who were there, they'll tell you their lives were never the same after that. My name is Lucas Ledwaba. I'm a journalist. I'm the editor of Mukurukuru Media. I arrived in Marikana on the 14th of August 2012. I was a staff reporter for the City Press. When we went there on the 14th, we did not understand what had happened a few days earlier. By the time we got there were already 7 people that were killed, or 9 people actually had been killed already. Security guards, Mr. Fundi, Mr. Mavelani, the police, warrant officers, Munene and Lepaku. When we got there, Mr. Twala was killed. The other workers, Mr. Semi Joganisi. So we did not really understand or appreciate the depth or the severity of what was really going on there, because the deaths of all those people that I mentioned were very violent, especially the security guards and the police. They were killed in the most brutal manner. They were hacked, they were bent, they were stabbed many times. Mr. Tapelo Mabebe, his sister told the Marikana Commission that she was scared of the people that worked with her brother, because she couldn't understand why they would kill a fellow worker in that manner. On the very same day, after we spoke to the workers, one of our colleagues informed us that there's a dead body not far from where the people were gathered. And because as we were standing there talking to them, there's a bakkie that arrived there, and they started offloading buckets, and I think it was herbs there, and they started sprinkling the guys with herbs, and they told us, no, now it's time to go, we must leave. As we were leaving, we saw the body and we took pictures, and they were not happy, and we left. So on the 15th it was agreed that no, the following day there will be further negotiations. So at the end of the day, on the 15th, I feel that everyone felt that tomorrow maybe the strike would end. I remember the 16th in the morning, the women from Nkaning Informal Settlement, which is very close to the Kopi, they came marching around noon. They came marching there, singing, saying they're in solidarity with their husbands, their partners who were on strike, their brothers. And some priests also came there. We later learned it was Bishop Joe Soka from the Anglican Church in Pretoria and from the Benchmarks Foundation. And they were talking. There wasn't much activity until afternoon, around 1, 2, Mr. Matunja came back. He spoke to the workers and he pleaded with them. He even went down on his knees and said, please, disperse, lay down your weapons, please disperse, because a decision has been made, you are going to be killed. But the workers said, no, Mr. Matunja, you've tried your best. We are not going anywhere until the employer comes here. If we die here on this hill. And Mr. Mathunjwa left. And that is when we started seeing activity. More police had arrived by then, armed police, different uniforms. We saw TRT, National Intervention Unit, POP, water cannons. We saw a special task force. They were in camouflage. They were in 2 hippos. I think that car is called, the armored car is called the Scorpion. They were there and dispersed these people. And the police called us, reporters, and said, look guys, we are moving into a tactical phase. So it's going to get a bit rough. And that is when I started seeing like police were getting ready. Some of them were having team talks, like they were praying, they had R5s. At that time, I think none of us still believed that the workers were going to be shot. So it was just chaos after that. There was dust. We were almost run over by police nyalas. Police were shouting at us to go away. They were shooting rubber bullets. They were shooting lots and lots of tear gas. There was one gentleman who was crouching. He had sort of an afro. He was wearing a Basotho blanket. And I spoke to him. I said, Dada, and I remember my camera the card got full. So I had to run back to the car to change the card. When I came back, that's when the gunfire exploded. And I can tell you, it was frightening. And after the shooting, there was this deafening silence. I can tell you, for a few seconds, it was so quiet. It was silent. It was like everybody was in disbelief. And then from there, everybody started moving towards the people who had fallen. And even then, we thought, well, maybe they shot them in the legs. We never, ever, ever thought that people would be killed in that manner. The very next day, in the morning, I was back at Marikana, and I continued working. So, I don't think I had the time to sit and think about myself. I considered myself as a journalist who's got an obligation and a responsibility to tell the world what was happening in Marikana. And that's what I did. I never had the time to see it, and I didn't want that. I decided, my news editor at the time told me, you should take a break. You've been exposed to this thing, you should take a break. And I said, no, I don't want to take a break. Actually, I want to attend the funerals. I want to continue with the story. Because if I take a break, then I haven't finished my work. We went to Lesotho. The 4 of the people who were killed were from Lesotho. We went to their homes. Mr. Munesa, Khanari Munesa, his wife was 6 months pregnant at the time. We went to Maseru. Munesa was from Liribe, went to Maseru. Mr. Mohai, Vitalis Mohai. And when they brought his body home, the hearse was there, the elders, were crying. But his children were there. They're like, and they're confused. They don't know what's happening. So that's what stays with you. The human tragedy, the impact of what you witnessed there. Marikana is something that you'll never heal from. The best way to deal with it is to continue telling the story, is to continue appreciating the significant role that journalists play in society. Can you imagine what would have happened if people at Marikana were shot and there were no journalists there? who would have told the world what has really happened.